Good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful day to study mathematics, and I am here today to convince you that in front of your very eyes is the world's best formula. This is kind of like one of those situations in the movie Elf. Do you remember when the elf Buddy, played by Will Ferrell, takes Zooey Deschanel, I'm probably saying her name wrong, to that coffee shop and it says world's best coffee? Well, that might have not been the world's best coffee, but I'm going to convince you, like Elf convinced her, that this is the world's best formula. Because this formula can be used on so many different things. It's unbelievable. You're just going to be so amazed. The only part of it that is going to change is this part that's written in blue. The area of the base will change based upon the shape of the base. So it'll be different if it's a rectangle versus if it's a triangle. Let me show you what I mean. First, we're going to look at the volume of a rectangular prism. Take a look. We start with this formula, the world's best formula, remember? The base of the rectangular prism is a rectangle. Remember, in a prism, there are two bases, so there's one at the top and one at the bottom. And the bases are parallel, meaning they never intersect, and they're congruent. And in between are rectangle faces. So the base is a rectangle. So the formula we fill in for a rectangle, the area of a rectangle, is length times width. So let's take the area of the base. Let's say that the base is, 10 inches by 4 inches. That would make the area of this base 40 inches. 40 inches squared. And then if this was 1 unit, 40 times 1 wouldn't change it. You'd still get 40. And after that, we need to take this area, 40 square inches, and multiply it by the height. So when you multiply it by the height, you end up with the full volume of the rectangular prism. Let me show you another example. Let's say we have a triangular prism. Yes, we're starting with the world's best formula. And then remember, the base of a triangular prism is a triangle. There's two bases on a triangular prism, one at the top, one at the bottom. And then we fill in the area of a triangle formula. Remember, this is the only part that changes. So if you find the area of the base, you take base times height divided by 2, and then you multiply that by the height, you will fill in the full 3D figure. You will find the volume of a triangular prism. Remember, volume is the amount of space an object takes up, or fills. Guess what? We're starting with that same formula. Yes, it even works for a pentagonal prism. The base of a pentagonal prism is a pentagon. Remember, with prisms there's two bases, so there's a pentagon at the top and a pentagon at the bottom, with rectangle faces in between. The formula for the area of a pentagon is 5 times base times height divided by 2. Because really, you could just take this pentagon and divide it up into 5 triangles. I'm trying to draw a line to each corner so that you see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. And see, there's the formula for a triangle, and you multiply it by 5. That's an easy way to find the area of a pentagon. So then you find the area of the pentagon using this formula, and then, guess what? You multiply it by the height. Remember, the height is the distance between the two bases. Guess what? This is even going to work for a trapezoidal prism. This is why it's the world's best formula. I hope I'm convincing you. So we have a trapezoid for the base this time. And the formula for a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. And lowercase height, meaning just the height of the trapezoid. So we find the area of the base, the trapezoid area, and then we multiply that by the height, and that will give us the volume of this trapezoidal prism. Wait, there's more! we have the volume of a cylinder. Now, a cylinder isn't actually a prism. Let me explain. A prism has a base that is a polygon. A polygon is a shape formed with straight lines. Do you see that a circle is not formed by straight lines? It's actually a curved shape. Since a circle is not a polygon, this 3D figure is not a prism. Instead, it has a special name. It is called a cylinder. Remember, with circles, everything seems to be special. Instead of calling it perimeter, we call it circumference. Circles are just special. So even though a cylinder is not a prism, you can still apply the same prism formula we have been using. So guess what? You start with this same formula. The base of the cylinder is a circle. Let's see if you remember the area formula for a circle. In my class, we sang a song. Let me start you off and see if you remember. Area equals, I hope you're thinking, pi r squared. So the formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. So you find the area of this base, pi r squared. So pi times the radius squared. And then you multiply that by the height. And it gives you the volume of the cylinder. Guess what? I just taught you 8th grade material. This formula you can use next year. That is the formula that they're going to have you memorize next year in 8th grade. Pi r squared times height is the volume of a cylinder. Now this one is for Mrs. Erickson, your counselor. So she always tells you to be kind and makes a heart symbol at you. And so I wanted to show that even if we had a heart 3D figure, you could use the world's best formula. The base is a heart, so you'd have to find the area of that heart. And then once you find the area of the heart, you multiply it by the height, and that would give you the volume of this heart 3D figure. So in summary, this is one useful formula. We use this formula over and over again. The only thing that changes is this blue part right here. And it changes based upon which base is, which shape is the base. So if it's a rectangle, you would replace this with the formula for the area of a rectangle. If this were, let's move on to a triangle, you would replace this blue part with base times height divided by 2. So you're always going to start with this basic formula, and then you're going to make this formula work for any of these bases by using the formula for these bases. So the last sentence I want to read to you is this part in red. This formula works for all prisms, and it works for cylinders. So I hope that I convinced you that this is the best formula in the world. World's best formula.